As we mentioned, Chris Christie is gaining ground in New Hampshire. He's more than doubled his support there over the last month. Major Garrett boarded Christie's campaign bus in Manchester. And during their ride, the two talked about Donald Trump's anti-Muslim policy and protecting the homeland.
We've lived with the aftermath of 9/11 personally. Kids in our school who lost their parents, friends that we lost in our parish. So I understand the fear, Major, I really do, and it's real. And I think as politicians, we need to be responding to that fear. And I didn't see that debate as stoking it. I saw that as a response to the legitimate fear we feel out there in the country.
And if you were to try to describe, and when you talk to people about describing that fear, are you listening or are you telling them what they should be thinking about that?
Oh, no, I'm listening. And then what I tell them is what I'm going to do in response to the circumstances which is causing the fear they're talking about. And that's what a leader's supposed to do, someone who's experienced and knows how to deal with this. You need to take in, debunk some things that they may be afraid of that they shouldn't be.
Such as?
Well, listen, I don't think that this is something that we should be afraid of people just because of what religion they practice.
Or how they look.
Well, of course, it goes hand in hand. Fact is that what you need to be fearful of is not having enough intelligence to know the difference between a jihadist and a peaceful Muslim. And that's what we need to be concerned about.
How do you do that?
You, first of all, ramp back up the NSA program, which should never have been taken down. You give real support to the FBI, more resources for them, and more than that, moral support to our intelligence community, our law enforcement community, which this president hasn't given. Every time he gets a chance to give the benefit of the doubt to our people, he doesn't. And that affects morale and their willingness to take risk.
If you were going to cite an example to me of that phenomenon, what would you cite?
Well, let's start going way back when he was really critical of police back in Boston, all the way back when he had that incident with the gentleman where he had the beer summit afterwards with Joe Biden. His initial reaction is to believe the worst of the police. Ferguson, his initial reaction is to believe in the worst in the police. My reaction is to give them the benefit of the doubt. Now, I spent 7 years in law enforcement, and I know that there are some bad cops. And when we have a bad cop, you prosecute them and you send them to jail. But you don't give no benefit of the doubt to all the rest of them who are out there doing a great job for us every day. And the same with our intelligence officers. There may be some folks who color outside the lines. If they do, prosecute them. But don't kill the morale of the entire group that you're asking to do some tough stuff in their dirty, dangerous world.
When you think about the concept of inspiration and people who intentionally stay below the radar and are inspired and then spring up, either in a lone wolf or some other system, thinking about the obligations of the presidency, how do you combat that? I mean, how does a president offer blanket assurances that that's never going to be missed or it can be captured before something really terrible happens?
You better not offer blanket assurances because you can't give it. The only way you could give it is to close down our society. And we're not going to do that. Americans are not going to live in that kind of country, and I don't want to live in that kind of country, and I wouldn't want to lead that kind of country. So what you have to say to people is, I will take every reasonable step under the Constitution to be able to keep you safe.
You can see more of Major's interview with Governor Christie Monday on CBS This Morning, starting at 7 a.m. Eastern.